Hello and welcome back to Flight Sim World. Thank you very much for joining me in the second part of my first look at dynamic weather. Now, we took off in clear skies in the last video, but it was quite gusty, which is something we didn't realize. And now we're flying in, well, as you can see, clouds. A lot of clouds. I mean, if we go outside, look all around, it's rather cloudy. As you can see in the flyby, it's rather cloudy. It's actually not too bad a view. And it's very, very windy and blustery still, so we do have a fair amount of turbulence. I'm going to see if I can get better angles to have a look around. Yeah, look, we're just flying basically in low cloud the whole time, which is a little bit of a problem. But there we go. What we're going to be doing in this video is hopefully not flying through these angles, going back inside. Hopefully we're going to be landing at London Heathrow, which isn't going to be too far away for us. But we'll have to see. We are going to have to see what exactly we are doing. Now, we seem to be way off our mark over here. We need to try and get back on course, but it's proven to be rather difficult. I'm actually going to go back into nav mode. I want to see if I can intercept this. I want to intercept that radial to get ourselves flying back in the direction we need to be flying. Otherwise we're going to be having a bit of a problem. Oh, but as you can, that's nice. As you can see, the weather is changing once again. Now, this is kind of important, I feel. Seeing the weather change in a fashion like this, I think is quite important. Because we're getting to... Oh, that's a terrible view. That's an alright view, I suppose. We're getting to see the breaks in the weather. We're getting to fly in and around. I want to get a much better view of this. I can't. How do I get a better view of this? With head tracking enabled. I don't think I can. Oh, why did the weather have to break on that side? Can I do that? There we go. I can do that, can't I? Oh look, it's clouding over once again. But you can see that we're flying in. It is dynamic weather that we are flying in. That's kind of cool. It's actually quite helpful. The trees still need work, that's for certain. Please fix those. That would be really, really helpful. Let's get ourselves back inside and get tracking once again, which seems to have. Have you lost my face? No, you've got my face again. There we go. There we go, wonderful. Right, oh, we're almost back on course. This is good. Now we're turning back onto our course, which is fantastic. I'm actually going to switch that there to be like so. In fact, it's gone back into nav mode. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to switch over into... I'm going to switch the heading over to another setup, and that one's going to be 293. So I'm actually going to switch this over to the opposite of 293 because we want the 293 inbound. So the opposite of 293 is going to be what? That's going to be 300. So we're going to go what? 113? That 293, I think. I think the opposite of 113 is 293. Let's have a look. Have a look on here. Look. 293 opposite 113. There we go. Fantastic. So we're actually going to switch over to 113 because that's going to be the next direction we need to fly. What I'm going to do though is right now I'm going to see if I can tune in another ATIS. The reason I'm going to see if I can tune in another ATIS is because if I just get rid of that for a second, just to check something, yep, that's all working fine, is because I want to know what the weather is here. Because if I press B, you can see, look, our altimeter has changed once again, and the reason it's changed is because we're flying through different weather conditions. So I'm going to actually tune in now. Let's see, Oxford, because we're going to be passing fairly close to Oxford, I believe. So that's 136.23. Now the question is, unlike Birmingham, will this one work? Oh, look at that! Look at that break. That's so nice. Wait, it's 23, so it's 225, right? I assume. No, it doesn't work. Why is the ATIS not working on this aircraft? I don't understand. Nearest airport list. Let's try this. Let's try this way. White Waltham, Enstone, no. Alright, fine, Luton. Does that have... Alright, let's get ATIS from Luton.
Luton Airport information. Yankee 1220 Zulu. Com. Visibility.
Greater than 20 miles.
Tech condition. View clouds at 5. 200. Temperature 16. Dew point 13. Altitude 994.
Alright.
ILS runway 26.
Alright, that's fine for us. Okay, so it looks like 26 is the one. 299.4, which we've now tuned in. Remember, when we took off, it was 3015, I believe was our... Yeah, I think 3015 was the choice, the barometric pressure of choice. So we do have that now. Heathrow is supposed to be... what's Heathrow's? 128.07, I think? 128.07. I'm actually going to attempt to tune 128 on point, no, 128. Oh, it's still wobbly. 0.07. That's 87 9 0 05 07. There we go. 128.07. Look at that break in the clouds once again. Let's see if that brings up Heathrow's. Yes. Okay. So at least we've got this.
221 Zulu. Wind calm.
Now here's the problem. You see this?
Sky condition.
Few clouds at 1,600.
600. Few clouds at 5.
So you can see the weather is slightly different there.
Temperature 1.
Altimeter slightly different. 27 left, 27 right in use. That's what I wanted to know. So we need to know that we're going to be landing on runway 27. So that's important for us, which means we're going to have to loop around, which is going to be a pain. Now it does say wind calm, but clearly I've got a lot of wind up here at 3,500 or 3,200-ish feet. We slow down just a tad again, and you can see, look, you can just see which way the wind is blowing because our heading is 180. Whoa, that's making me sick, especially with the stutters. Our heading is 180, but our course is 169. That is a pretty strong wind to be pushing us whilst we're doing 165 knots, or look, 192 miles an hour. That is a really, really strong wind for it to be doing that to us. But you can see, look, we've got some clearing out here. Let's bring that back up. Look at that. The skies have cleared. So we went through a patch of thick cloud, and now we've gone through a lot clearer skies. This is very, very bad, though. The entire the weather system at the moment is quite rough. But it's an interesting flight, you know, it makes an interesting flight, so I'm happy that they've included dynamic weather. What I think they really need to focus on is things like weather fronts. You know, at the moment, like I said, I mentioned in the last episode, everywhere you look, the weather's changing all around us. So if you look behind us now, we had clouds only a few moments ago, but if we go into a view that we can look behind us, not that view. There we go, let's have a look behind us. Look, where have those clouds gone? I mean, it wasn't those clouds that we flew through. Those are different clouds. There were clouds all here, right behind us. Where have they gone? They've just disappeared. So that's something that obviously needs to be thought of and worked upon. I think that is a matter of priority. Honestly, I think that's a matter of priority. Right, we're coming up on our turn in. As a matter of fact, I feel like we should begin our turn now into... should we begin our turn now? No, maybe in a few seconds, but I feel like... No, I feel like it's time. Alright, beginning the turn to a heading of... Was it 129? This is really rough. And I think what's happened is with the inclusion of this dynamic weather, it's dropped the frame rate. And that's a little bit sad as well. that what the heading's supposed to be? I don't think so. I don't think that's the heading. Hold on. 293. What's 293? Take away 180. Yeah. No. We've got it right. 113. 113. We've got it. So earlier on, I had that wrong. I think I said it wrong. I can't remember now. I did say 113, didn't I? Right. So London is somewhere near us. So what we're going to do now is we're going to switch into ILS mode by doing that, and we're going to pull up London's ATIS once again.
Airport information.
And we're going to set this for
1221 Zulu. Wind. Calm.
Let's figure out what we got.
Visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky condition.
27, I think, is our
600. Few clouds at 5, 700. Temperature 16. Dew point 13. Altimeter 293. ILS runway 27L and ILS runway 27R in use.
right. So that's 271. I think is the final approach. I think final approach is
The FR
271.
aircraft the direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instruction.
That's fine. That's a terrible ATC, I have to admit. I'm glad they're working on that. Alright, so now we're on course. We are on course here. There's Heathrow ahead of us. And what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can land this aircraft. This is going to be rather interesting. You can see the different clouds though. You can see how we've got different clouds. And this is a good, I feel like this was a decent showing of dynamic weather. What we're going to do is we're going to fly past Heathrow. Actually, how should we do this? Because we're going to literally, whilst we're on this course, we can fly directly past Heathrow. That was a bit of a jump in the clouds. These clouds look really odd. I'm not sure what's wrong with those. I've never seen clouds look like that. That looks more like a... What is wrong with those clouds? That's Windsor Castle, right there. Just have a look down there if you want, for you guys to enjoy. This is there you go, there's Windsor Castle. I feel like I'm a little bit confused though for some reason. Shouldn't Windsor Castle be just over there? I don't know. I feel like everything is slightly off on the terrain. Not massively, just slightly. That's the M4. No, maybe it's right, Yeah, that's the M4. Should be coming up to the M25 junction fairly soon, which is just around Heathrow. So what we're going to do is we're going to descend now to... no, switch that off. That. We're going to descend to 2,000 feet. There you go. Get ourselves descending to 2,000 feet. I'm going to reduce the power ever so slightly. You can see we're going a little bit off course over here, so we're actually going to turn a little bit more into the wind. This is due to the wind pushing us around, but actually at this point we're going to go into a circuit, so we're going to turn south. Now unfortunately it's saying wind calm, but I don't think the wind is calm here. I genuinely don't think the wind is calm, so I don't know whether the meteors are wrong, because this is clearly a lot of turbulence. There's wind blowing us around. I can feel the wind blowing us around, but yet it says wind calm, which is awkward. Right, so we're way above the glide slope at this moment in time. This is not registering what I want it to do. I wish the autopilot would work as it's supposed to work as well. So we're going to turn south, going to cross over the airport. Like so. Come on. Get us going south. There we go. Alright. We no longer need that. We're actually going to switch that into 109.5 as well. I do apologise if this is making you feel a little bit sick. 109.5. 09.5. It is a little bit, I know it's a little bit overboard. There we go. Okay, so now both of them are lined up correctly as you would expect. We are descending, as you can see, slowly. It's taking us a while to descend. The airport is just there, as you can see. It's taken us a while to turn around as well. That's the City of London. We're going to continue along in this direction for a short period of time. I'm going to bring the ATIS up again because that's wrong. This information is wrong.
221 Zulu.
Wind is not calm.
Greater than 20 miles.
I need to know what the altimeter was. It's 2993, right?
2 clouds at 5.
Yeah, there we go. I've just adjusted that to 2993.
16. 2.13.
And we are still descending. There you go.
Runway 27 L and ILF runway 27 R.
Right, we will now turn to a heading of 090.
And runway 27 R. The FR aircraft redirection of flight.
Yeah, something's wrong with that. I'm not sure what's going on there. This is not calm winds, and I don't care what anybody says, this is not calm winds. I know calm winds, I've flown in calm winds. Flight Sim World developers, if you're looking at this, what's going on here? Can anybody explain? 091 is my heading of choice. There we go. Now we're on our downwind leg, sort of. As you can see, there's a runway. We've got some clouds coming up again. Visibility is good, I will give it that. Visibility is quite good. We can see where the few clouds are at our current height. Down to 2,500 feet. There's not many clouds up at 5,000 feet, as it says. There's actually more clouds over at this height than there is at 5,000 feet, but that's that's very confusing to me. Oh, this is going to be very interesting on landing. I can almost assure you that I'm going to mess up the landing for this. So my thoughts on dynamic weather now that we're coming into land, my final thoughts. I've done my flight in it. The first issue I had was obviously getting ATIS at Birmingham, which doesn't still seem to work. That's a problem that's carried over from Flight Simulator, and I don't know whether Prepared has the same issue, but Birmingham's ATIS, as Echo Golf Bravo Bravo, has the wrong frequency in it, and that's something that has carried over for a very, very long time. So that's a little bit poor. That's Richmond Park over there. We're going to cross over that. We're going to go past it and then turn around and come back over it. That's how I feel like we should do our circuit today, since we have no traffic and it's ridiculously windy. The next thoughts on it was I took off and we had the right barometric pressure, so we had a difference in barometric pressure, so that was fine. So that showed that it was dynamic. It was quite windy, so I thought, okay, it is quite windy. I don't mind that. Let me slow down a little bit now. There we go. So, you know, I didn't mind it being windy. That makes sense to me, and you can actually tell it is windy just by the way everything is. The aircraft is responding. The movement on the ailerons, the climb rate, you can tell, and the speed, the way the speed is shifting, you can tell it is windy, and yet it says it's not. So the biggest issue I have is ATIS saying wind calm. That's actually one of the biggest issues I have currently, is wind calm. Wind is clearly not calm. Wind is far from calm. Right, now we can turn in on the downwind leg, because now we are below the glide, and then we're going to line up on the localizer very, very soon. There we go. So this is good for us. So that's something that I am not all too happy about, is that fact. But that being said, the framework is certainly there. Right, we're definitely going to need to be able to see out of this at some point. The framework is certainly there, so that's very good. I need to see more of dynamic weather, but the other issue I have is optimization. Since the dynamic weather came out, it doesn't feel like it's all too optimized. It has been... Last week when I was flying, it was not as juddery, not as stuttering as this. So obviously dynamic weather has done something along those lines. So that's something to be, you know, to think about. There's a river, as you can see. The airport should be out there, just out there somewhere. Getting ready to turn in. We're taking a 27 right, I believe is my one of choice. You see, it does look good. The fact that we're flying into... Oh, okay, we're way over already. I should have done the turn. That's okay. We're going to turn in, and we're going to really establish ourselves on this. Slow ourselves down now. There you go. Yeah, I think it's... I don't know what to make of this. It's good. It is really good that they've got dynamic weather, but I feel like in the process they have caused some issues with, for example, the likes of optimization, which means it's not very smooth. I mean, if I press Shift and Z, look how many frames I'm getting. Now, admittedly, we are in London, and this is, you know, this is bog standard for London to get this sort of frames, but you know, it's still. I would have expected better. I really would have expected better from this at this point in time. Yeah, I think dynamic weather still needs some work. It certainly needs some work, especially considering what it's saying right now to me about what's it? What it's telling me about the whole idea of wind calm. I mean, let's bring that up again. Let's see what it says. One more time, we'll bring it up. I'm going to slow ourselves right the way down. I need to start getting gears and flaps out.
Visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky condition: few clouds at 1,600. Few clouds at 5,700. Temperature.
Yeah, it says wind calm.
2.1.
I don't understand.
Altimeter 29er.
Alright, and we can bring ourselves, start descending. In fact, I'm going to do this manually now. Forget the autopilot. What is this doing? This is not calm winds. I'm not even going to say it is calm winds. Alright, you know what? We were supposed to take the other runway, but I've changed my mind. I'm taking this one. I was going to take 27 left, or at least that's what I've put the frequency in for. 27 left. I think the frequency I want, if I were to switch it over... Come on. Yes, I know we need to do this. There we go. Stage 1 of flaps. Look at this. This is not calm winds. I don't care what anybody says, this is not calm winds. It's 110.3, I think. There you go. Done. 110.3, switched over. Someone did ask me, where do I get these from? These frequencies? I actually know them off the top of my head. You can just look them up though. They are available to just be looked up, but I know these frequencies off the top of my head from years of experience in flight sims, and obviously with real aircraft. My interest and profession and stuff like that, and my interest and qualification and everything is related to aircraft. So yeah, or related to physics and aerodynamics and yeah, aircraft mechanics, so on and so forth. That's why I've always liked these sorts of frequencies. But this is not calm winds, and I know the ATC is saying wind calm. It's not wind calm. This is not wind calm at all. So yes, I like the dynamic weather. I like the fact that we've got dynamic weather and it's swinging through. I don't like the fact that ATIS is confused as to what the weather is. That's a bad thing, because then we can't really establish what we need to do. For example, I can't do any calculations here in my head to work out what the weather is, or sorry, I can't do any calculations to work out what the which way I should be flying, because I don't know what the wind is. I don't know which way the wind is actually blowing. Now, in what I feel the wind is blowing from about 210 or thereabouts. That's where I feel the wind is blowing. But it's not easy. It's really quite difficult to keep this aircraft on course. As you can see, I'm really fighting and struggling with this aircraft to keep it on course, and that's a problem for me. But overall, I think that the foundation for dynamic weather is there. As you can see, the weather has changed once again. It's become more cloudy, and I like the fact that it smoothly goes in. That's kind of important as well. Ooh, what's happened here? It's like suddenly the wind has stopped. No, it isn't. It's back. Is it wind shear? I genuinely don't know. It's not pleasant, though. It is not pleasant to fly. This is not the kind of weather I should be flying in. Right, let's stop, bringing ourselves in for a landing. Whoa. Come on. There we go. And we're arriving at Heathrow. As smoothly as we possibly can. Oh, that's a rough landing. Could not tell on that. Huh, now we're on the ground, there actually isn't any wind. That's weird. I'm not experiencing... Look, my hands are off the controls, and I'm not being pulled in any which direction. What is going on? So all the way until we got to the ground, there was no wind. Yeah, I'm literally going down the runway. Hang on, look. Here, there we go. Down the runway, facing... Let's get ourselves facing... there. Need to do that. Right, and just at this speed, and let's just see what happens. Is there any wind at all? That's what I'm curious about. There we go. My hands are off the controls. I'm doing about 20 knots. Now, that is fluctuating, so that does show a wind. In fact, there is a slight pull in this direction. If I were to put my ailerons in, does that stop it from pulling in that direction? Let's do that. Yeah, there is a wind. There is a wind coming in from around 210, and yet the ATIS did not seem to pick this up. Let's take this turning over here. Yeah, and ATIS did not seem to pick this one up. Oh, yeah, there you go. You can see quite clearly. You can see what just happened as I hit the brakes. It just pulled me straight into the wind. But there we go. We have arrived at London Heathrow with a rough landing, very rough landing. But what else can we do? Final thoughts on it. Yeah, it's good. It's only a foundation. I know they say it's literally version 1, but I think there are bugs on it. I think there are bugs that need to be quashed in the next update. For example, the fact that ATIS was not picking up any wind, and yet clearly I can tell there's a wind. I've done enough flying in crosswinds to be able to tell that there's a wind, and I can even tell you where it's coming from. So that's something. I do like the fact that if we were to just sit here, the weather would change. I do like that fact that if we were to just sit here, the weather would change over the next 5, 10, 15 minutes. It wasn't a severe weather change as well, so I'm quite happy about that. It didn't go from... It wasn't unrealistic in the sense that it didn't go from suddenly clear weather to a sudden heavy downpour. We don't get that over here in Britain, so we didn't get that. Well, actually, that being said, we do sometimes get that, where it goes from clear to heavy downpour fairly suddenly, but we didn't have it just suddenly change as we were flying over different areas. I was happy about that. There was a few bits of pop-in, and I think the clouds look a little bit weird. I've never seen clouds do certain things that were being shown over here. It has had an impact on frames. It has definitely had an impact on frames, but I hope that they can optimize that and sort that out. Let's switch off the de-ices. I do hope that they can sort that out, because we need good frames. There's something very important in Flight Sim World, or flight sims, are good frames. That's something that a lot of people have been asking for, and it's not just good frames for the sake of having good frames. It's good frames because we need the frames to be able to compute the simulation correctly, because these things work, as you can see if I go here. There you go. We've got the frames per second and then the simulation rate. How many sims per second is going on, and you can see that's 19. Look at that, the weather has changed. It's clouding over very nicely now. So that's what I mean about seeing the weather changing even as we're out and about. But you know, 19 simulation runs per second, that's not good. We need to be running 30, 40 simulation runs per second for it to even be remotely realistic, or to feel right. And maybe that was part of the issue that I was having flying this aircraft, was it was just running too little simulation calculations per second, and that's what caused a number of the issues. But you know, I can't be entirely sure. Yeah, the wind is definitely coming from this way, so I can't be entirely sure about that. But there we go. That brings me to the end of this video, this first look, two-parter first look, where we struggled with ATIS in Birmingham. We took off. We had really gusty takeoffs. We were trying to stick to the path. We saw the weather change a few times. Then as we came in here again, we saw the weather change another couple of times. Then we got ourselves a circuit and landed at London Heathrow, where, as you can see, the weather is changing very slowly. Is changing, but look, first of all, that's pretty low resolution, and I don't know why. That's baffling me. It was high resolution before, and now it's low resolution, so that needs to be fixed. But you can see that the weather is changing all around us, and I do like that, and I might continue flying with dynamic weather in every video now. I think that would be quite interesting, but I don't know if it's gonna put that much of a toll on the simulation. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I need to get back inside. Not press that. How do I get back inside? There we go. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on Flight Sim World. Leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think of dynamic weather. If you've got dynamic weather, what do you think? Have you used it? Do you like it? Has it had an effect on your simulation rate? Has it had an effect on your frames as it has on mine? I would like to know. And if you're watching this on Twitch, thumbs up and a follow, please. Last but not least, do support me on Patreon. Link to that is in the description box below. I would massively appreciate your support. It would help me out a huge amount. Even if it's $1, that would be a massive support to me, and it would really help me just bring you more quality content, better content, better graphics, better performance. You'd be able to see things a lot better, more games, better quality audio. It'd make things a lot easier for me and allow me to sustain a living. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you guys next time in Flight Sim World.